Hey, welcome. It's we calling this Hammer Time Monday or Monday Hammer Time. We have OdinHammer from Odin's Den. Am I saying it right?
That is correct, sir.
Odin's Den's podcast, which I listened to this morning. Very entertaining, and we'll get into that. Um, I asked Odin to come on. He accepted, and so we're gonna do just a podcast to talk about kind of what you do in your podcast, some of the Vikings football and where you see us going, and some of your thoughts for like future podcast entertainment, if you will, because you've been doing this a lot longer than me, so you'll have some ideas I can learn from and see if I can do it better. So I always ask kind of like the same questions to my guests. You've been around. You started watching the Vikings when?
Since I was 3 or 4,
Oh,
my
wow.
dad has been a fan since the beginning in '61. And when I was little kid, that was what I loved more than anything was watching Viking games and Monday Night Football with my dad.
Okay, I had Vikings boss on. He said, like the same thing. He started his dad. If he wanted to talk to his dad, he had to watch football because that's what his dad did on Sundays or whatever. And so, it sounds like that's the same with you. And then, when did you get hooked on the team?
Around that time,
Oh,
I think when I was 5 or 6, my dad gave me like a little Viking picture book for my birthday. When I was little, I must have read that book 300 times.
really?
It had team photos and pictures and stories from all the old school Vikings of the '70s. So I was just reading stories about how at training camp Jim Marshall and a few other guys strapped a frog to a parachute and launched him in a 3-stage rocket. Just silly stuff like that. And I was 5 years old reading this and thinking, God, these Vikings were great. I loved the team since I was 5 or 6.
Did you go to some of the training camps that they had back in Mankato?
I did once, but I was too young to remember it.
Okay.
Joe Sensor was not too far away from us, I think, is what my mom told me later. I think I was maybe 4 years old at the time, something like that, so I don't remember a ton about it.
Okay. All right. Last year, I had a chance to live in Minneapolis for the whole football season before I bought my home here in Phoenix. And one of the things I wanted to do was drive down to Mankato and go to a Stadium Pizza and get a pizza because they talked about how after practice they would go there and have a beer and pizza. So I had pizza from Stadium Pizza down in Mankato, so that was kind of cool.
Well, Matt Khalil, he owned a pizza place in that area, right?
Did he? I don't know. I didn't. Oh, yes, he did. You're right. Good memory.
Yeah.
Does he still have it, or?
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay.
He's not a Viking anymore,
Yeah,
so I don't pay
yeah.
too close attention to him.
Yeah. I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore, right? He's kind of.
Yeah, the Texans might have cut him. I'm about 70 to 80% on that. Don't quote me.
Okay. So, what year? I can't tell how old you. What year did you become a fan? So.
Well, I was born in 1981.
Okay.
My first Viking memory was the wild card game in '87 when we beat the Saints. I think it was 44-10.
Okay.
That's one of the first games I remember watching on TV with my dad, and he was pointing things out to me and everything. Fell in love with Anthony Carter that day, I think.
Okay.
He was my favorite player as a kid.
Was he? Okay. All right. Did you? You must have gone to the Metrodome to watch a game or two, right?
I did.
Okay.
For
And
sure. I was at a game. The first game I went to was against the Bears when the Vikings were down 20-0 in the fourth quarter and came back and won 21-20.
Oh, okay. I remember that game.
I think it was Harbaugh was the Bears QB at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the first game I went to.
Okay. And have you been to the new stadium to watch a game?
I have been
Okay.
once each year since it opened.
Awesome. Can you compare the two stadiums in terms of fan experience, if you will? Is there a comparison? I mean, is it?
No, there's no comparison.
Right.
U.S. Bank Stadium is where you want to be.
Okay, yeah. I just love the pregame, the way they just get you pumped up and the dragon with the fire that comes out. The whole thing is just, and then that video that they get that, just gets you pumped up. It's just the coolest thing.
I've heard that being at a night game is really special. I haven't been to a night game yet, but when the lights are out and it's dark and all of a sudden you get the video packages and the fire and everything. I've heard that's pretty special. So I'd like to go to a night game at some point. Maybe me and you can go.
Yeah, definitely go. I have season tickets, and I'm doing a contest to win the tickets to the Redskins versus the Vikings Thursday night game. And last year I went to every home game, so I used my tickets. And then when the first year when we played the Packers at night, remember that game, the very first regular season game? That was a
pick at the end. Yeah,
that was a night game, and it was totally awesome because number one, my seats look directly through the glass doors and out to the city. So you get that incredible view, and as the sun is setting, it's just unbelievable. And then, yes, they turned down the lights, and they did the tribute to Prince, and they had an orchestra in the middle of the field, and the lights down, and everyone turned on their cell phone, and so the whole thing was just unbelievable. So yeah, night games are definitely a cool time to go and watch the Vikings play. So.
Well, some guys just have it all D-Vike 27.
Yes, well, I worked for it. I'm paying for it.
I don't doubt that.
And the Vikings have always been my passion, so it's nice to be able to give back. I was able to give 2 tickets to 2 different clients that, one, their dad was a Vikings fan, always wanted to go to, a game. He's from Massachusetts, so I was able to do that. And then I have another client who's a Vikings fan, and he took his son, who's actually a Packers fan. So I'm trying to get him to take his son to a Vikings Packers game at US Bank Stadium because that's unbelievable. So definitely go to a night game. And so you do podcasts now. Tell me about how that got started. What's the goal? What, in your opinion, is a good podcast? What's the objective with your podcast?
Well, I mean, the A-Train and myself probably had different goals with our particular podcast going in. It was all his idea. He wanted to maybe start building a brand and try to get people to listen and that sort of thing. He needed a co-host, though. So he was asking me, and I finally said yes. He told me he would take care of everything, like the social media, Odin's Den Twitter, producing the podcast, all that good stuff. He told me he just wanted me to show up and just talk into a microphone and say what I'm thinking for 45 minutes and call it a day. I'm not super interested in building any kind of brand or anything of that nature. As far as what makes a good podcast, I guess I would say from the podcast myself and the A-Train do, I'm just hoping anyone that listens to it ends up just maybe thinking about things a little, feel something. If you're entertained, if you feel you're maybe a little more well-informed after listening, that sort of thing. If anyone's happy they listen to it, then I would call that a win.
Okay. How long have you been doing it? Has it been months, weeks, years?
A couple years. Our first episode was March of 2016.
Oh, really? Okay.
That is correct. Yep. We're on episode, I think we just finished 89. Because during the season, we go once a week to react to each game.
Okay.
In the off season, we go more once a month. Just cover free agency, the draft, all that good stuff.
Right. So to do it for 2 years, there's got to be some value there or some passion there, or what keeps you going for 2 years?
Well, the A-Train's like my best friend. That's a big part of it. I've loved the Vikings more than anything for as long as I can remember. I love talking Vikings with friends. I see it as like we might as well just be at the bar with a beer talking to each other. We go to record a podcast. I'm talking to my buddy.
Okay. Do you have a sense of how many viewers you have in terms of has it been growing for since 2016, or does it matter or not matter?
Well, that would be a question for the A Train. I don't know how many downloads we get.
Okay.
I think he might have mentioned once that it is growing a little, like we have more downloads per month, I think, as we've been going. I have no idea what that number would be.
Okay. And it sounds like it's not important to you, right? Because it's really A Train's sort of gig.
The numbers are more important to the A Train.
Okay. Fair enough. And I notice you guys are affiliated with the Purple Pain Forum.
Yeah, Funky Town, I think, heard one of our episodes, and she reached out to the A Train and was telling me, hey, we have a Viking, message board, website community. Would you like to do a cross promotional sort of thing where you mention us on your podcast and we'll post your episodes online? And the A Train, no skin off our back. Let's do it. So here we are.
Great. Has it been a good partnership?
Oh, I would say so.
Okay.
I never had been on a Viking internet, message board forum before. I never saw the value in it until now, really.
Yeah.
But now that I've gotten to know the Purple Pain community and I get to see how great it is just to talk Vikings with people you don't have to know, it's just like playing chess online. I play chess with people from all over the world from my computer. I can't believe it took me this long, but I'm starting to see the value in the Purple Pain community.
Yeah. Do you have a shout out for Funky Town? Anything you'd like to say to her in person here and live on a podcast?
Well, sure. Well, thanks for bringing me in, Funky Town. I'm happy to be here at Purple Pain and be posting a few opinions and be agreeing and disagreeing and with people. Thanks for the offer.
Yeah, same here. She's I have a little history with Funky Town. We met online at the old We Are Viking fan website. Remember that site? Oh no, okay. It was like 2000,
never heard of it.
2009, 10, 11, like that time frame. The Vikings put up a great fan forum, and it was called wearevikingfans.com, and we all kind of met there. And she and I actually went to a game together at the old Metrodome, and then that's how.
Okay.
And then she started Purple Pain and maybe another forum, and I stopped for a while, and then I just got back on. So it's just a great way to communicate with other Viking fans. I'm from Massachusetts, and everyone there, I was from Massachusetts, they're all Patriot fans. So when I had a chance to meet other Vikings fans, it was like heaven, just to be able to talk Vikings and purple and the whole nine yards. So totally cool. Now let's talk Viking football 2019. Give me your take on this team. Do we get to the Super Bowl? What's going on? What's your take?
Well, I listened to the Vikings boss episode you did with him, and he predicted 11-5 for this year. I think that sounds about right. The Super Bowl would be tough. It's not impossible, for sure. I wouldn't consider the Vikings a preemptive favorite to get to the Super Bowl. A lot of it depends on Kirk Cousins. I definitely like the defense. I've liked the defense for a while now. It was a great move bringing the Denver Mafia in, the zone blocking scheme. That was a smart move, and we're starting to see that.
Oh yeah, good point. I never heard them being referred to as the Denver Mafia, but that's a good. I'll accept that.
They use the A-Train's term. I kind of just borrowed it.
Yeah, I love the our running game and the way it's that zone blocking scheme that I really don't fully understand, but I can see the benefits on the back end. The cutback lanes, and that's where Dalvin Cook is really shining because all he needs is a crease or two, and he's gone. So
about 20 years ago, I think a coach or two like Kubiak or Shanahan, whoever, I think somebody realized that wearing down a defensive line doesn't have to be power man scheme. Our O line's going to mash your D line, and that's it. I think somebody realized if you make a D line move laterally, run sideline to sideline to make the play, every running play, that can work just as well. And I think we're seeing that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Good. Do I think we're going to make it to the Super Bowl? I keep saying we are. We're very close. We are very close. I mean, if we play the way we played Sunday, you can almost say, yeah, we can get there. But then we have games like the Packers game. Although when you think about the Packers game, we came back from 21-0. And most other teams would have failed, or not failed, but given up. You know what I mean? And we fought back. We were one play away from maybe winning that game. Don't you agree?
Oh, I do agree 100%. I like the mental toughness we showed.
Yeah,
There were some positives to take from that game for sure.
For sure. And I think Sunday's game is going to be a real test for us to see kind of where we are and who you are. Do you have any predictions on that game, or what would you like to see happen? Besides winning, of course.
Well, I would like to see Kirk Cousins make some nice passing plays in Soldier Field. This is the sort of game I think we're going to need Cousins to help us win the game. We're not going to win this game just with running and defense. So
okay. So you think
I'd like to see some nice throws in the passing game from Cousins.
So you're thinking that the passing game is going to be the game changer for us. If the passing game is on, along with the running game and the defense, we're going to win. Is that what you're saying, you think?
In this particular game, I would say so.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of, I think we're all hoping for Kirk to be Kirk that we thought he was going to be when we signed him for $80 million. So this would be a good game for him to do that. And maybe it could be the beginning of something very special for us moving forward. Not just this year. What about many years?
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that would be very nice to have a Patriot-like run, for, 10, 20 years of having a competitive team that we're always either in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl or championship game. Something like that would be way too cool, I would think. So,
yeah, my mind would explode if that happened.
What do you think you'll do if we do win? The first Super Bowl? What's your reaction, you think?
Oh boy. Well, I know Pat Williams, he was interviewed back in the day and he joked that if he was on a Super Bowl winning Viking team, he would throw his helmet and jersey and shoulder pads, everything into the crowd, and he'd walk off the field wearing nothing but a jock strap. I'm only hoping I could contain myself a little better than that in public.
Yeah. I could see myself, because we're going to have a parade, obviously, down maybe Nicollet Ave in Minneapolis. Probably taking my shirt off and running around, in the cold but it does get cold in Minneapolis, so maybe I'll keep it on and just run around and scream. But
shirt off is the bare minimum for a Super Bowl celebration, D-Bike.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be fun, though. It would just be just an unbelievable feeling, and probably what Philadelphia felt a couple of years ago when they beat the Patriots.
They got their first one.
Yeah, they got the first one, and they had a. Did you see any of that parade footage from Philadelphia?
No, I refuse to watch any of that.
I did watch it. It was kind of fun to watch how they were celebrating and the whole 9 yards. So all good. So your next podcast will be next week? Is that after the Chicago game? Is that how it works?
That is correct, good sir.
Okay. Do you have any futuristic ideas for what you're going to do with that podcast? Is it going to stay audio? Are you thinking video maybe, or just?
Well, I don't know how to produce the podcast myself. I mean, if something happened to the A-Train, Odin's Den would be no more. I don't know how to turn everything on.
Okay.
I'm okay with doing a video podcast. I'm not against it. It's been just audio up to this point because that's what the A-Train has been wanting to do. I feel like the A-Train doesn't care enough to involves Skype.
Okay, okay.
uh, I don't know. I could maybe try convincing him if enough Purple Pain members would rather we do a video on.
I don't think I think everyone's comfortable with the way it is. The written part of Purple Pain. I've asked a lot of people to come on, but no one's coming on like you and Vikings boss and Nathan, who's
Like our Twins fan was on, right?
yeah him Twins fan. But a lot of other people just want to stay with the written part of the forum, which is fine. It's just it's another jump, it's another leap into something different. What's cool about the internet is how it's all made possible with the network number one being able to handle video like we're doing now. It's not like watching TV, but it's not bad. The quality that we're getting is not bad considering what we're doing. If you're following that, it's like
So my Skype looks okay. This is the first time I've ever used Skype.
yeah. I mean, it's not like watching high definition TV, but you'll see on the rebroadcast when when we're done, you'll be able to see what I'm seeing, and it's not bad for what we have, and it's only going to get better.
Well, you seem like you know what you're doing. Do you like 27?
Well, I've been doing it since 1997, so it's I better. But it's just a fun way for me. It's just I get to talk football and it's Vikings football, which it's been my passion since I was 10. I was my first disappointment, if you will, as a Vikings fan was the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And I've been waiting since then for my first Super Bowl win. That hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. So, and why not this year? Why not right? Why not this year? Why can't we go this year into Miami and win it right there and be done with we ever going to win a Super Bowl lingo? So it's going to be our year. Let's just start thinking positive and stop saying that this is not your parents' Vikings. Let's say that this is the 2019 Vikings. I've been saying that on the Purple Pain forum, that this is not your parents' Vikings. It's the new Vikings. So maybe it'll come true. Any other thoughts, questions that you have?
Well, I nominate Dan Chat for your next fan spotlight episode.
Really?
Yeah, that guy seems to see things really clearly. And I mean, shoot, I watch college football, and every once in a while a player will stand out to me, that kind of thing. I mean, Dan Chat does comprehensive top 500 lists of college prospects and everything. That guy knows what's up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I nominate Dan Chat. Okay. That's what happens, right? The guest gets to choose the next guest.
We just started that today, and it's a great idea. I never thought of that. It's not so much the nomination is the acceptance. The problem is you've got to get Dan Chet to say yes, I'll do it. So I'll reach out to him. But the other thing I want to do that I can do is I can actually have up to 5 guests, on a podcast.
Oh, you have enough bandwidth for that?
Well, I don't know yet, but I can include up to 5 and see how the bandwidth handles that. But that would be a cool discussion to have, maybe you, Vikings boss, Dan Chat in one podcast, and we can kind of, go back and forth on, whatever. Like, for example, Viking boss and I have decided that at the end of the first quarter of the season, so after the Chicago game, we're going to do a first quarter recap based on what he predicted and what I predicted. And it'd be great if you could join us as well. So we have maybe, 2 to 3 people talking about the first quarter of the season, what your thoughts might be and what his thoughts might be. And we'll know whether we're, 2-2 or 3-1. Hopefully we're 3-1. And we can discuss moving forward how we can stay with just one loss or whatever. So is that something you'd be interested in if I can make it happen?
If it was on a Monday, I could definitely do it for sure.
Okay.
I have Mondays off from work every week. Monday is my day to be a vagrant and coffee, sweatpants, play chess, maybe not shower.
Okay. So Monday is hammer time.
Yeah, Monday's hammer time.
Monday's hammer time. All right. Well, he and I have not picked a day, so we'll discuss that. In fact, I haven't talked to him since we did our first podcast, so I'll reach out and see what he thinks, and definitely want to have him back because I've invited him back from that first podcast. But I think again having 2, 3 guests at one time. Good question. Will the bandwidth handle 3 people? I don't know, but we'll see. If
Well,
not,
I like Vikings Boss. I like a lot of the users. I think you asked diehard Twins fan what his favorite posters were, right?
yeah, I did.
He didn't have one because if I was going with favorite posters, I guess I would give. Well, first of all, I'd give a shout out to Beck MT for his chess avatar.
Okay.
I'd say Dan Chat is one of my favorites. I've tended to agree with him on a fair number of topics that have come up, and he knows the draft way better than I do. And Funky Town, obviously, for everything she does on the forums and inviting me to join the Purple Pain family. I would say you would get a shout out for reaching out to me and being kind enough to have me on your Deep Purple podcast today.
Awesome.
And damn it, I like Rain Man's style.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy will reach through his computer screen and choke you out Darth Vader style.
Good point. Good point. Have you met any of them in person at a game or?
No, but I will be meeting Funky Town in person for the season finale against the Bears
Oh, really?
at US Bank. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to that game. I bought 4 tickets from her, and I'm going to, I guess, see her there. And I think there maybe are a couple users she's mentioned, a couple other users she travels with. I guess they listened to the Odin's Den podcast on their trip up to the stadium, I think is what she said. So I might be meeting a couple other Purple Pain members too. I know for sure I'm meeting Funky Town.
Okay. She's a great person, and she's. I love the fact that she's kept this thing together, and she took that message board experience that she enjoyed and just kept at it, and now it's grown into something pretty special. I wanted to ask you. And I'm now drawing a blank, but what is your handle on Purple Pain? What do you?
OdinHammer.
Okay, so you're okay. And what is A Train? Is A Train? Is that?
Yeah, his is A Train, but I think if you are gonna tag him, you might have to put Odin's Den because his handle used to be Odin's Den.
Odin's Den. Okay, all right.
But he changed it to A Train. So if you tag him, you'll have to type like ODI, and then it shows up as A Train or something.
Okay.
It's shown as A Train now.
Well, when I was listening to your podcast this morning, what I liked about it, what had me laughing, is how much he curses. I don't know if that's him that curses, right?
For the most part, it is. Yeah. I've cursed at Packer fans once or twice, but the A Train is the potty-mouthed individual between us.
Yeah. So I was toying, with the idea of should I be more myself and swear more, because I do swear, but then I wanted to not, be vulgar if someone's watching who doesn't like that. So I'm trying to keep my podcast clean, but I did enjoy, the realness of A Train and his potty mouth kind of thing. So. And I was like, is that what makes a good podcast? You just be yourself and you F this and you F that, and but I don't know. So
that goes into it. He has his fun with me too. I mean, we've known each other 20 years now. We're always pushing each other's buttons.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Any other thoughts or questions or?
Would there be a best Viking win and toughest Viking loss? Is that a question?
Yeah, that is a question. Give me your number one.
You asking other people. I wasn't sure if,
Yeah. So what is your favorite win and your worst loss?
Well, my favorite win easily would be the Monday Night Football game in Lambeau in '98,
Yeah,
Randy Moss's rookie season.
that was awesome.
When Moss and company went into Lambeau and embarrassed that team in front of their fans, that was cloud nine for me as a Viking fan. Easily number one win.
And what was your toughest loss amongst all the tough losses that we've had in our history?
I got to pick one.
One or two?
One or two. Okay, I would say number one worst loss for me was that same year, the '98 NFC Championship game against the Falcons. Because I was a senior in high school that year.
Okay.
And I was worried, like, oh, I might be going off to college next year. I might not be able to follow the Vikings as closely as, that's actually what I was thinking.
Okay.
I was kind of thinking this might be my last year where I can really get to watch the team as much as I want and everything. And the way that game went and overtime and missed field goal, that was my number one most painful loss as a Viking fan.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Tough one, because I think most of us had our Super Bowl parties planned. I mean, we thought we were going to the Super Bowl that year. At home, we had an unbelievable offense that couldn't be stopped. And for it to end like that was just like a kick in the gut.
Well, in that game also, there was no, referee BS I could point to at least.
Right.
I mean, Saints NFC title game, there was a lot of referee BS in overtime and all that sort of thing. That '98 game, there's nothing I can really point to.
Right. Yeah.
And that was it.
Good point. Yeah, exactly. Just it was straight up. We missed a field goal that he made for 2 years, and then the rest was pretty much history. And to lose like that just hurts, and still hurts.
Yep, absolutely, still does.
It's like, and that's what I love about football. I mean, the game is played for only like 3 hours, on a Sunday. It could be played 10 years ago, but we can still talk about it. We'll still be talking about, plays that happened this year, maybe 10 years down the road kind of thing. So that's what I love about sports and football in general. Speaking of, talking about sports, the Minneapolis Miracle, where were you? And give me your reaction to all that.
Oh, well, I was at my dad's house. I go to my dad's house every Sunday for every Viking game. I still watch every game with him.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a particularly nice win. My sister's a Packer fan. And from when we used to live in Wisconsin, and she was there. And right before that play, my sister was actually consoling me a little bit, like saying, "Oh, this was a great game. This could have been the Super Bowl." She was actually trying to help me feel better about it and everything. And then the Minneapolis Miracle happened. And she was a little embarrassed after that.
Do you remember what you did? Were you running around or, on your knee? Like how'd you celebrate?
Well, I yelled at him to get out of bounds as he caught it. It was like, "Get out of bounds!" And then, a second later, you realize no one's behind him. You say, "Go, go, go!" And he got in, and me and my dad were doing jumping jacks and cartwheels in his living room.
I've watched, some of the fan reactions that were posted on YouTube, and it's just fun to watch. And I was actually at the game. I was sitting in my seats. So
you
Diggs is
a game.
Was that?
You were at that game.
I was at that game.
Again, some of us have it all.
Yeah, I wish I did, but I was at that game, and I stood up, like everyone else, 10 seconds left. And I can remember thinking, I'm coming to grips that I picked a team that's always going to lose the big games. It was just this depressing feeling like this is just how it's going to be for me. And it was so surreal because the play happened, and I can just remember Diggs' legs, like going 100 miles an hour as he's going down the sideline, and the whole place just erupted, and it stayed like that for at least 20 minutes. And then on the way out, where everyone's just walking down, from the stadium, jumping into snowbanks, and it was freezing. No one had, no one cared. It felt like it was like 50, 60 degrees, but it was like -2 or whatever. I'll just never forget that. That was just a great time to be a Vikings, fan. So, yeah. Yeah, so great podcast. Awesome to get to know you. Definitely want you back. I want to do some type of, like I said, a 3 guest kind of a screen kind of thing. And I don't know if I can make it happen with the bandwidth. Maybe I might have to increase my bandwidth. I don't know, but if we can, that'd be cool. And any final thoughts or any messages to some of your board members at Purple Pain?
Oh, I love all you guys. That would be what my final message to the Purple Pain Forums. Keep being you. I'd say everybody just do what you do. I love reading all your posts. I love posting with you. Keep up the good work. And I would just say thank you for having me. I'm perfectly willing to come back. I'll ask the A-Train if he wants to make an appearance if you'd like. Thanks for having me, DVike27.
Awesome. Thank you. And one last message to the board members who are thinking about doing a podcast but have not pulled the trigger yet. What would you say to them? Pretty cool experience, isn't it, to kind of just come on and kind of do this and get to talk about you as a fan and all that? Would you agree?
It's a super fun experience, and I would say if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time I've ever used Skype. If I'm able to do this and I'm having fun actually talking to someone else, I'm an extremely introverted person, and I'm having a blast. So to that, I would say any Purple Pain members that DVike27 reaches out to, you would be a fool to pass up that offer, sirs and madams.
There you go. Awesome. I am trying to get Funky Town to do it, but she's extremely busy, and I understand. Hey, Hammer time. Thank you so much. I'm going to, let's just close with a skull chant. Skull.
Skull.
Skull. Skull.
Skull.
Skull.
Skull.
Skull.